Hello and welcome back to the Non-League Podcast with myself, Lee Simons. And today I've got another special guest with me. I've got the assistant manager at Stowmarket Town, Paul Musgrove. How are you, sir? Welcome to the stream. How are you?
Thank you very much. Yeah, good. Yeah, listened to your podcast. Well done so far on the good work.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So how are you finding the isolation period at the moment?
I'm actually settling into it quite nicely now. Actually, yeah, I've got a good rhythm with the kids. Spending more time with them, and my wife works as a manager on the stroke unit at Bury St Edmunds. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, so doing a bit of work from home, and then when she comes home, I then go to work for a few hours. So I do get a bit of an escape.
That's good for you. That's good for you. I think now I'm in 6th week of isolation. Just got a kind of routine going, which is good. Doing your daily exercise and doing bits and pieces with the kids. So I know how you feel. And then, of course, during the afternoons and the evenings, I'll get to do these podcasts. I get to speak to you guys, which is really good.
That's, like I say, the things you've done so far have been brilliant. So, yeah, it's a nice release.
Oh, thanks very much, Paul. But for people who don't know you, Paul, can we just have a quick background story about how you got into football, how you started, really?
Yeah, probably just like most people, you know, I got two older brothers, so always kicking a ball around, and started with my local team, which is a team Barningham, and got to 9, and Ipswich were watching the game. They were actually watching somebody else, and they come and spoke to my dad and said, would I like to go to Ipswich?
All right, yeah.
That was Tony Dable at the time. He's quite well known for scouting. So I then went off to Ipswich and was there from 9 till 16.
Oh, right, wow.
Brilliant. Had a brilliant time. Had some brilliant coaches. Made some, good friends and some good memories, and then I was released from there. At the time, you got taken on for your apprenticeship, or you didn't.
Okay.
I didn't get taken on, so I went off to Scunthorpe for a little while on trial.
Yeah.
And then I went to Colchester, and both of them didn't come through. So just had to accept, like most people, you're not going to make the grade.
Yeah.
So I came back to Suffolk and thought, all right, it's time to get a job and knuckle down and then just play football locally and see where it went, really.
Oh, right, okay. So when you come back to Suffolk, whereabouts did you go after that? What kind of club actually spoke to you about your availability, shall we say?
Yeah, so I went into Bury Town.
Yeah.
So that was really good experience. I had a really experienced team then. Tony Godden was the manager, and then Keith Vince, which was Dale Vince's dad at the time.
Okay.
Dale Vince was a quality player at that era, and it was the Juicing League, to be fair, they were playing in.
Yep.
So a lot of older heads. So as a young lad, it was brilliant experience, to be fair. Oh. And then I decided that I needed more playing time. Yeah. So I went off to Walsham when Paul Smith became manager.
Yep. Yep.
And stayed there for quite a while until Mr. Morsley turned my head at Needham Market.
Okay.
So I went there and played for a while, and then I went back to Walsham.
Yeah. I was going to say, how was that when you went back to Walsham after you played at Needham Market?
It was fine, actually. It was one of them places that whenever you went back, you never felt like you've been away, to be honest with you. And the manager hadn't changed and the players hadn't changed a great deal. So it fitted back in well with my lifestyle at the time, really. So It was, I stayed again there for I can't remember how many years. And then I had a little spell at Mildenhall.
Yep. Yep. So from Mildenhall, whereabouts did you go after that?
No, I stayed at Mildenhall and then I went back to Walsham.
Okay, so did you start doing like coaching when you were at Walsham?
I done my coaching first coaching badge when I was about 21, 22 because I'd always thought it might be something that I'd be interested in.
Yeah.
So I went on my coaching course with Trevor Collins from Bury.
Yeah.
And then obviously, then I got into the coaching role. Really, it was when John Taylor left Walsham.
Okay, yeah. So how was that when you took over at Walsham?
It was difficult, really. Actually, the transition between trying to do the two was harder than I thought. At the time, I think you think you're ready and you're mature enough and you've got enough knowledge base to take it on, but it is a little bit of a sabbatical when it doesn't go quite right, really. And probably looking back on it, I wasn't mature enough to do it, I'll be honest with you. I quite volatile, and I was quite anxious to do well as well.
Yeah, I bet you were, especially when you were trying to do like the both, like playing and actually trying to coach the actual team as well. I bet it was kind of a bit difficult, really, in the end.
It is because some of them are still, you've got close allegiances with players, and it was kind of in my head, right, I've got to do one or the other. So I sort of floated out of playing, really, and did more of the coaching side of it. But again, really looking back on it, I needed to probably take a step away before really going into that role. So I had a couple of fallings out with people, a couple of people close to me at the time, and that was when I decided it was time to leave, to be fair.
So basically, because especially when you're playing, it's like you really want to play with your mates, don't you? Really, you want to do well for the club. But then, on another hand, being the manager, you need to take that person's not playing, that player's not playing. You've got to make that decision. And of course, as you were saying, that it could fall on your face. Really, basically, you want to do well at the club where you're at.
Yeah, Welsham, it was close to my heart. I put a lot in there as a player. So, me and Paul Smith, we got on well. It was kind of a gentleman's agreement. He was sort of ready to sort of pass it on at some point. So I was doing a lot of what I'd say the manager's duties were anyway.
Okay,
and I was sort of, I was desperate to do well, really. I didn't, like I say, the first sort of job you go into, I didn't want to fall flat. And like I say, probably looking back on it, I needed to step back, take stock a little bit like you do at times, and probably get a little bit more experience.
So from that experience at Walsham, I bet that was kind of a bit of a footing stone for you, really, because you just wanted to do well for like the next job which comes your way, really, don't you?
Yeah, it was a bit of a low, really, because I probably left. Like I say, I'd had a bit of a changing room bust up, which I openly admitted was my fault, to be fair. And I went away, and in the next couple of days, I thought, I don't know if I've done the right thing, but I missed football. I then got in contact with a friend of mine who was doing a lot of scouting for Crystal Palace and Leicester at the time.
Okay, yeah.
We'd always talked about maybe I could do some work with him if it didn't work out on the management side. So I went off and travelled the length and breadth of the country, watching games. Like I said, I was leaving mine at sort of 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, catching a youth team game at 11 o'clock, and then going on to Div 2 or Div 1 game. So
I bet that was a bit interesting to go from like you managing a team, playing for a team, and then asking your friend like scouting for like Crystal Palace and Leicester for a team. Like, you want to get back involved with some kind of form of football, really, because basically that's what you want to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. In fact, I trusted James Scowcroft at the time. He said to me, you need to take a step back and learn different things, and he was spot on, at the time. So I watched a lot of games. I looked at different things that he was teaching me, different angles of the game to look at and focus on. and I was watching a lot of football. If I wasn't actually physically watching it, you know, he was saying, look at this, you know, there's something you could call Y Scout you can log into, and I was watching a lot of games on there. So it soon became apparent that you were spending a lot of time on your own, though. So that was the biggest difference between being in a changing room full of people and a clubhouse where you know a lot of people and you seem to relax and your natural personality comes out. So I was in the car a lot on my own.
Yeah, I bet you were, especially travelling all the country up and down, really, seeing all sorts of games, really.
Yeah, I'd done. There was quite a very good year group at Leighton Orient at the time, so we were, you know, a lot of them players have now gone on and are at different clubs. So I was concentrating. So in terms of what you're watching, how you watch it, you sort of watch the game in a different way.
I bet you do. So from that scouting trip, shall we say, whereabouts did you go after that?
Well, the phone rang one day, and I was obviously on the A14 somewhere, and it was Steve Holder from is now at Hadley.
Oh yeah.
A mate of mine I played with, and at Walsham and various other clubs, and we'd always got on well. So he rang me and said, do you fancy coming to help us out at Stowmarket? We need a little bit of experience just to see us through.
Okay, yeah.
And I said, I can do. I sort of hesitated because I hadn't played for a little while.
Yeah.
And I thought my head was still telling me, yeah, you can, you know, they were in Division 1 at the time. Yeah, of course, you know, you can go and stand in the middle of the park and still be fine. So it was fine, actually. It was funny story. We went to, the first game was Diss Town away.
Okay, yeah.
I've met Rick Andrews in the week, signed the form, and away we went to Diss. Played the game, and I think we drew 0-0.
Okay, yeah.
And it became apparent that they had to replay that game because my signing on form hadn't gone through, and that was the points maybe that could have lost them the league in the end. But it didn't work out that way, and I think I only played about 6 games, and they went on and won the league. So it was nice. Like I say, I went into Stowmarket. The only experiences I've had with Stowmarket were playing against them.
Yeah.
And you know, I never, to be fair, and I've said it to Neil Sharp, the chairman, you know, the pitch was always something that held them back.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fond memories of playing there, that's for sure. I never enjoyed playing there just because the pitch was so bad.
So basically, you won the championship with Stowmarket Town. Did you finish playing then at that stage, or did you go into like the management side with Rick then after that?
Well, it was funny. Like I say, I only played 6 games, I think, and there was I think there was probably a good 20 odd games, so I didn't contribute to that title winning season at all. The last game of the season where they won it, I spoke to Rick and I said, look, you need to involve the lads that have been involved. It's not fair, and so I won't claim that I was involved with that title winning season. But me and Rick, to be honest with you, at the time hardly spoke. He'd sort of just send me a text saying, are you about this week? And we didn't speak hardly at all.
Okay.
Last week of the season, they were playing Coggeshall, I believe, or within the last week or two of the season, they were playing Coggeshall, and he said, would you mind going down to Coggeshall and scouting them for me and having a look?
Oh, right. Wow.
Funnily enough, so me and Scully went down looked at Coggeshall one Saturday. We weren't doing a lot that Saturday, so we went down and had some lunch and a drink and watched Coggeshall and come up with a game plan. And really, that was from there. Really, we met Rick after the game,
yeah,
and had a chat with him. They won the game, which I think obviously contributed again towards them winning the league. And me and Rick didn't stop talking from that day forward, really.
Yeah, I bet.
And then in the summer, he asked me to be his assistant.
So how did that all come about with the pre-season coming up to coming back from that season, going into the Premier Division, and then you're how was the pre-season for that season coming up?
Yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind. Rick sort of laid out that, things have changed a little bit in terms of the investment coming into the club and the plans for the pitch. And he said that, there's a possibility the pitch will be ripped up. And at the time, it all seemed like a lovely dream and a nice project to walk into. But obviously with being in football, sometimes you hear a lot of things and sometimes don't see a lot of action. But things certainly moved very quickly. The pitch started to get dug up, and then we started to speak to certain players, and we started to develop a squad that was capable of challenging for that league.
Yeah, definitely. Because you narrowly missed out on the was it top three? Was it? I think you got to the top three in that season.
That was, I think, that was when Coggeshall and Felixstowe went up, and we, quite well documented. I think we got 102 points, 106 points, and still never went up. So remarkable, really, with the other teams of how well they did. So they thoroughly deserved to go up as well.
Well, that's quite an achievement. You getting 100 points in a particular season, anyway, which is achievement in its own right, really. But as you were saying, you didn't get promotion, but then you had to build on for the next season, which unfortunately for you guys at Stowmarket was voided, unfortunately. But no,
that wasn't the next.
No,
season.
it was the season.
Next
sorry.
season we actually finished fourth.
Fourth. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yes. So we had season one where we hit 102 points and didn't go up. And the next season we went on to build again.
Yeah.
And we actually came fourth. I think with 10 games to go, we knew we weren't going to win it, so we started to try different things and look at players in different positions, and just really started to plan for the 19-20 season. So
how was that with the 19-20 season? The plan of actually, because you bring in quite a lot of good players, really. Was it 8 or 9 good players that you brought in, like Dean Bowditch and all that? Because Ryan Sweeney, Robbie Sweeney, he's spoke to me as well. He came in from Wroxham, didn't he? So
he came in the year before Robbie. So we started to devise a plan. Things changed on that plan, but to be fair to Rick, we sat in Portugal in the sun with a beer and started to devise a plan. And Tom Parks, Toasty, he left that summer as the coach, so we had to recruit another coach.
Yeah.
We've got Danny Potter, who's superb as a goalkeeper coach, but we added Dale Brooks in that summer.
Yes. Yeah.
And away we went, really, and whether or not Rick gets enough plaudits, but he went out and spoke to these players and told them what we were trying to do. And yes, they are players well known, all very, very talented players in their own right, and it started to come together nicely. So yes, there was a lot of ins and outs, but I think if we wanted to move on to that next level, we needed to do that.
Because that's what it's all about, isn't it? You want to get to that next level, especially with the chairman putting in investment to the club, and of course, the attendances as well going up and up as well, especially with the younger generation coming in to watch the games as well. That must be quite an achievable for you guys as well. You get like the 12-year-olds coming in to watch you guys instead of like saying Ipswich or Norwich or Colchester or whoever. That's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, when you look at it as a club, the club do all the right things, and like you say, we're lucky that we've got Tom Morley, who's puts heavy investment into the club, and but it's not just about the first team. Obviously, we have great attendances. We involve a lot of the youth teams, as a lot of clubs do. It's nothing new, but the buy-in from the younger generation's been great, and we've done a few things before games to stimulate that. We've done a few training sessions. We let the kids in free. Rick bought, I think, about 10 or 15 home shirts one day and gave them all out to kids coming in. So again, it's just a feel-good factor and trying to create a good atmosphere where people enjoy it and knowing that the club's trying to go in a direction and everybody's doing their own little bit, really.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you've got like a top goal scorer like in Joshua May, who, especially when he scored 50 goals the previous season, now he's scored 32 this season as well. So good on him. Good on him, really. So it's really getting into that top marks, really, isn't it?
Yeah, Josh. Josh is a great lad. To be fair, his sense of humour is incredible. He always tries to give me a bit of stick, but he, as a lad, he's. He knows his own weaknesses, and I think that's a great attribute to know where you're lacking a little bit, but he makes up for it. He's Johnny on the spot, always there for a goal or two in an important game. And this year again, he's gone on and he's changed his game a little bit again. Yeah. With guidance from Dale Brooks, and again he's kicked on and scored a decent amount of goals. And he's proven a lot of people that, he isn't just a one-season wonder.
No, definitely not. Hopefully it continues for you guys as well for next season. But I feel a bit sorry for you guys, not getting promotion because you were top and tail of the whole teams in the league. But I think next season might be a bit more. It could be more of a challenge, don't you think? Because all teams, I think, will be proving a point, really, won't they?
I think it's always difficult because when you're a promoted team, and you're going into a league and you do well, always there's a second season where people find you out.
Yeah.
Now I would say again, people will think, right, okay, if they've done their homework, how do they play? What do they do? Again, but it's down to us as a management team to work hard and work hard on what we're good at, what we were poor at, and try and improve it. So. Yes, I think teams will be trying to prove a point and maybe be a bit organised, a little bit stronger. Yeah. But it's just for us and to keep raise the standards again and get the boys going again, which is going to be a difficult task. Don't get me wrong, but it's one we embrace and want to take forward.
Well, I think you've done tremendously well. You get into the Vars. Cup against Wroxham. Unfortunately, you lost that, but you've done really well. You've got the attendance, as I say. Wroxham bringing 1,000 people in at the stadium. I thought that was tremendous, especially at the level what we're at.
It is, and there's a lot of achievements that you can put it down to, as in crowds, points, not losing, being unbeaten in the league. But surely, like I say, all the people you speak to and listening to these other podcasts, it's more about the memories.
Yes, definitely.
What you can look back on and the friends you make, the people you see, and everybody's doing it for the same reason. One, they want to win stuff, but two, it's obviously a sport that we all love.
Yes.
We all try to do our best at. Different people have different resources, different holdbacks, different skill sets. And I think, like I say, it just brings people together in a great competitive way. And like I said, I always think, well, have we made good memories along the way? And we've, throughout the whole time, whether I'm playing or managing, it's been brilliant, really. You can look back on it and think I've had a tremendous amount of fun with a lot of people.
Definitely, because I've been following the non-league scene for about a few years. Only like 2017, it was like I went to my first game at Thetford against Great Yarmouth and kind of fell in love with it, really, because it's only down the road for me. And I thought, right, let's just go down, have a watch, and I enjoyed it. And I just kept on going and going and going. And of course, to me, there was not much like on like the social media side of it. So there's more people now who are actually bringing out highlights. They're bringing out YouTube videos. They're bringing out podcasts. They're bringing out all sorts of things, which trying to get that bigger audience to watch to actually watch the clubs themselves.
Yeah, and I listen to other podcasts with the same question, really, and it's good. It gets people out there. It gets people known. It's great for so many different reasons, but also about you chaps in the work behind the cameras. interviews, again, it gives you a different platform to get to know people,
Definitely.
and you never know what might come from that. You know, you can make great friends. And it gives you, you've got a different angle on it, and everybody's views and opinions should be respected, and you're just trying to put it out there, which is, I think, so I don't think there's anybody in non-league football that could have a bad word to say about it, because it's only positive, and, most of you are doing it out of your own generous time.
Yes, yeah, definitely, because time is precious at sometimes, but it's because what you love about the football really is the love, that passion from myself, that I want to go and do it. That's the main thing. And of course, I can get to speak to you guys as well, which is incredible, really, for me.
It's like I said, it takes every sort of different avenue to make up a team, whether or not it's people behind the bar, whether it's committee, players, staff, people pulling together to achieve one thing, which is winning stuff ultimately. But again, making it a safe place for people to come in and enjoy themselves and let their personalities flourish, really. So it is what you guys put out there, just gives it a different platform and a different view with great footage and really good interviews.
Well, thanks very much. So one last thing for yourself, Paul. So what about next season, whenever that starts? What is your plans for next season?
Well, we're planning vigorously at the moment and doing little things, but obviously it is up in the air. But I think there, it is a plan. There's a plan in place. We've got to improve, and like I said, we're looking back on the season as a whole and looking at where we could tweak it. And I've got no doubt we'll be stronger, and our levels will be high again. So, with regard to our ambition is to keep everybody together, keep the management team together, and hopefully the club will continue to back us, and we just hope to achieve the same again. Hopefully in the Vars, maybe we get another good crack at the Vars, which is a bonus.
Of course, always a cup run is always a bonus, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it's great. And like I said, if we can, we have another go at that and try and improve on our last 16 that we got into this year, and hopefully give people a lot of happy memories.
Definitely. Well, Paul, I wish you and Rick all the best for next season. Hopefully, I'll be able to come down and watch you guys again, which will be good.
Yeah, no problem. Just give us a shout when you do, and we'll buy you a beer.
Oh, thanks very much. I appreciate that. But Paul, I appreciate your time.
Much appreciated. Yeah, take care of yourself.
Same to you. And for people who are listening, many thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.